Hello, dear friends. Welcome to this lovely new podcast episode. I'm your host, Henry.
And I'm Mia. So, Henry, many of our viewers have asked a common question. When they start speaking English, they don't have enough words.
That's a very common problem, Mia. We all need a good amount of words to talk about different topics, right?
Exactly. It's like cooking. A dish is only as good as the variety of ingredients you use. The more words you know, the more flavors your speech can have.
That's a great analogy. But it's not just about having lots of words. It's about knowing how to use them effectively, right?
Right. And to build that vocabulary, it's all about practice and exposure. The more you listen, read, and engage in conversations, the more words you'll naturally pick up.
I've noticed that a lot of people make this mistake. They don't repeat the words enough. They just memorize or practice once and then never repeat them again.
Oh, then they're doing it wrong. Repeating the same words in your conversations will help you to remember them in the long term.
Exactly. This is the only effective way to truly learn and retain vocabulary. Otherwise, you might end up with a long list of words, but at the end of the day, you'll forget them because you never use them enough.
Now, let's move on to the main topic. Do you know who Mark Zuckerberg is?
Oh, come on, Mia. Who doesn't know him? He is the founder of Facebook and one of the most influential tech entrepreneurs in the world.
Not only that, but he is also one of the richest people in the world.
Yeah, that's true. He's not just rich, but a visionary who transformed social media. Without Facebook, the way we connect online might be totally different today.
Now we are going to start our learning session, and we will listen to native speakers like Mark Zuckerberg.
Yeah, and we have to identify new words. It's an excellent way to learn new words from native speakers' conversations, right?
Yeah, and we are going to use real-life examples so that the words will be easier to remember.
That's a great idea. Sometimes when we just memorize words, we forget them quickly. But when we hear them in a real conversation, they stick in our minds.
Exactly. Plus, we'll also focus on pronunciation and how native speakers connect words naturally.
Oh, that's interesting. You know, sometimes when I listen to fast conversations, I feel like they skip words or merge them together.
The word is imposter. Let's see. Listen to the dialogue.
That was my hardest time leading Facebook. I believed in what we were doing, but I felt alone. And worse, it was my fault. I wondered if I was just wrong, an imposter, a 22-year-old kid who had no idea how things actually worked.
Welcome back, friends. I hope you enjoyed the dialogue. Did you notice the word imposter? What do you think it means?
Imposter, that's an interesting word. I think an imposter is someone who pretends to be something they're not. Like, imagine someone sneaking into a wedding, pretending to be a guest just to eat the food.
Or, like when someone fakes their qualifications to get a job they're not really qualified for.
Yes, exactly. Another good example could be someone who creates a fake social media profile, pretending to be someone famous just to gain followers or attention.
Those are all great examples of an imposter, someone pretending to be someone else. But sometimes, the term imposter refers to something deeper, imposter syndrome. That's when you feel like a fraud, even though you're actually capable or qualified. For example, like Mark Zuckerberg in the dialogue, that's when you feel like a fraud, even though you're actually capable or qualified. For example, like Mark Zuckerberg in the dialogue, he felt like an imposter despite leading Facebook at just 22 years old.
Yes, for example, imagine a talented musician who's just landed a big record deal, but feels like an imposter because they think they're not as good as everyone believes. Even though they've worked hard and have the skills, they can't shake the feeling of being a fraud.
If I had to know everything about connecting people before I got started, I never would have built Facebook. Movies and pop culture just get this all wrong. The idea of a single eureka moment is a dangerous lie. It makes us feel inadequate.
Welcome back, my friends. We've got a new word today. Inadequate. The sentence was, "It makes us feel inadequate." What do you think that means?
Inadequate means feeling like you're not enough or not good enough for something. It's that feeling when you think you're lacking in some way. Like, imagine getting ready for a big presentation and then seeing a colleague present confidently with amazing visuals and slides. You might feel inadequate because you think your presentation doesn't compare.
Exactly. A better example, when you're at a job interview and you hear your peers talking about their impressive accomplishments, you might feel inadequate because you think your own experiences don't measure up.
Right? Or when you're preparing for an important exam and realize you haven't studied enough, you might feel inadequate because you don't feel fully ready.
But I know too many people who haven't had the chance to pursue their dreams because they didn't have a cushion to fall back on if they failed. We all know you don't get successful just by having a good idea or working hard. You get successful by being lucky too.
Welcome back, my friends. We have two new words today, cushion and fall back on. The sentence was, because they didn't have a cushion to fall back on if they failed. Let's break it down.
First, cushion here doesn't mean a soft pillow. It means a safety net, something that protects you from difficulties. For example, if you have extra savings, that money can be a cushion in case you lose your job.
Exactly. Another example, if you have supportive friends and family, they can be an emotional cushion when you go through tough times.
Now, fall back on means to rely on something when you have no other options. For example, if your business fails, you can fall back on your previous job skills to find work again.
Yes. Another example, if you don't pass an important exam, you might fall back on another career option that you're also interested in.
So in the sentence, they didn't have a cushion to fall back on. It means they didn't have savings or support to rely on if things didn't go well.
That's right. It shows why having a cushion, whether it's money, skills, or a support system, is so important in life.
There are people left behind by globalization across the whole world.
Welcome back, my friends. Today's word is across. The sentence was, there are people left behind by globalization across the whole world. What does across mean here?
Across means over a wide area or from one side to another. For example, if I say news about the incident spread across the country, it means the news reached everywhere in the country.
Right. Another example, he traveled across Europe for a month, meaning he visited different places all over Europe.
Here's another one. The internet has changed education across the world, meaning everywhere in the world, education has been affected by the internet.
Yes. Swing. There are many traditions that are common across different cultures, meaning various cultures share similar traditions.
So in our sentence, people left behind by globalization across the whole world means that in many different countries, there are people who haven't benefited from globalization.
Exactly. Across helps us describe something happening in many places or spreading widely.
They give us the strength to expand our horizons. And that's why it's so striking that over the past few decades, membership in all kinds of communities has declined by as much as 1/4.
Welcome back, my friends. Today's word is striking. The sentence was, "That's why it's so striking that over the past few decades, memberships in all kinds of communities have declined by as much as 1/4." What does striking mean here?
Striking means something that is very noticeable, surprising, or impressive. For example, the difference between the old and new buildings is striking, meaning the change is very obvious and catches attention.
Right. Another example. She has striking blue eyes, meaning her eye color is very noticeable and stands out.
Here's another one. There was a striking contrast between the rich and poor areas of the city, meaning the difference between them was very obvious.
Yes, it's striking how fast technology has advanced in just a few years, meaning the progress is surprising and impressive.
So in our sentence, it's striking that memberships in communities have declined, which means it's surprising and noticeable that fewer people are joining communities nowadays.
Exactly. Striking helps describe something that grabs attention because it's either surprising, impressive, or very different.